Hey, how's it going today? I want to take a few minutes and talk about some thoughts I've been having around AI, and really not AI in the financial sense and not AI in what it's doing to businesses, but AI in explicitly how it affects artists and how it might affect how artists do their work. And we're going to have to make some definitions here, so I'll see you on the other side of the lead-in tape. I thought we might talk for a few minutes about AI and how AI might affect artists today. I've got some thoughts. Let's see where they go. When we think about AI, there's what we've all seen all over the world. Oh, AI is going to bring a lot of money here. It's going to bring a lot of money there. I'm kind of ignoring all that part in this conversation. But what I really want to talk about is what AI is going to do for fine artists. I don't mean commercial artists. I don't mean poster designers. I don't mean people who are doing jobs for other people that are basically business to business or business to business to consumer or business to consumer or anything like that. I'm talking literally the fine arts. And, what can we do with AI and how is AI going to affect us in the long run? And I say us because I'm a fine artist too. I know you think that I'm just making YouTube videos all the time, but that's quite not the case. So there's a couple things that we can blame AI for. And I'll admit there's a couple parts here that are a little bit trickier. If you're a video artist, if you're a movie maker, a photographer maybe, AI can have really serious ramifications on what you do. And that's something that I'm going to have to kind of put off to the side for a minute, because what I'm really talking about are handmade objects that have a physical presence to them. Paintings, paperwork, drawings, sculpture, that kind of thing. If you deliver what you make with a computer being part of what it is, you could have a problem down the road. And frankly, my little lizard brain isn't big enough to kind of manage what that might be yet. But what I really want to talk about is the handmade, the kind of thing that people, when they buy art for their homes, are what they're really looking for. I'm not talking about Glee clay prints. I'm not talking about posters. I'm not talking about anything kind of mass or semi-mass produced. They are what they are, and they do have a problem with where AI can go, because if we're looking at just kind of one image, that can be a real problem. But if we're talking about paintings, if we're talking about sculptures, we've got a whole different thing that AI can work for us. And those things that AI can work for us can be very, very different. And they can work from us from kind of what goes from our sketchbooks and planning and idea generations into kind of how we make work. And so there's two different ways to look at that. And I want to start with the idea generation side of it. Because AI can be, if you want to use it, a great tool for idea generation. If you can sit there and type in a short paragraph about the kind of, let's say, sculpture you want to make, and you then say, oh, I like this, but make it blue, make it do this more, make it do that more. You can, instead of having to build these things over and over, you can kind of just build them in AI, see what they're kind of looking like, and then realize if it's something you want to build. So that kind of rapid prototyping approach is something that could work really well for folks who use AI. Now, I'm not saying that AI is the final piece. I'm also not saying that you might want to do some sketches after you see the AI ideas come out of it, because that itself, your hand is the really important part of all this. AI is just simply a tool helping you kind of pre-visualize things. Think of AI being like your sketchbook at this point. I think that's kind of exciting. I think we can see that with some painters, not all painters. Currently where AI sits, I don't really see the photogenic parts of it. So if you're a realist painter, I'm not so sure AI is going to do the world for you. But it's getting better and better all the time. So there's nothing like off the table. But what I want to see put on the table for artists, for AI, is to use AI as idea generation and to use AI as ways to transform your ideas into newer ideas and newer variations of your ideas. That to me makes a ton of sense. Are you using AI to answer your email? Let's not talk about that. I think that's stupid for the most part. But I know people do it, and I know it's a time saver, so you get through your office day the way you get through your office day. But let's think for artists about workflow acceleration. Where does that take your work? How fast can you come out with new ideas and new thoughts about your ideas? How can you shift those and kind of put them in fifth gear versus having to kind of grind along a little slowly because you're always building something? And we all know that building something like a drawing or something is much faster than literally building a sculpture. I think sculptures always take like 4 times as long to make as something on paper does. I don't think anyone really disagrees with that. So that's number one. Are there ethical and economic challenges to AI? There are. But if you're using it to kind of do what you do and see where it goes, you're not going to really bump into those. So by continuing to use AI in that sketchbook mode that we talked about, I think that makes a lot of sense for artists. Are there ways that you might want to use that for a final piece? Maybe, but truth be told, at this point in time, AI just isn't that good yet. And I think what our collectors tend to want to see, at least at the moment, is artwork that shows the hand of the artist, that shows that decision-making process. They want to see kind of something beautifully made by hand, even if it's from, even Jeff Koons, his work is made by hand by lots of people, not just him, but there is that, like, this is a physical thing. This was made by artisans and artists and people that care. And I think at the end of the day, that counts for a lot of things. Oddly enough, I went and saw Richard Prince's show at Gagosian in December. It's called Folk Music, I think. Maybe it's called Protest Songs. I forgot the title, to be honest with you. But super handmade. His hand is all over that work. We always complain about Prince with, the appropriation work. He's taking other people's photographs, kind of repurposing and putting them into his own work. This was completely out of that. Really textural, really handmade. Not addressing anything to do about AI with those paintings at all, but I did see kind of like a shift away, at least for this body of work, of getting away from kind of mass communications in the computer. And I thought that was really interesting and kind of a very curious way of watching Richard Prince zig and zag as he kind of like navigates through the new cultural technology world. So I thought that was interesting anyway. But you can also see him kind of making decisions on that. Pushing that a little bit further, I do think this idea of authenticity, as much as I think you can look at authenticity and go, you clearly don't understand art history. Even if you look at, Duchamp's urinal, that's still authentically Duchamp, even though he didn't put his name on it and he didn't make it, but it was his decision to present it the way he did. It's a very authentic piece of work. I think if you look and you jump fast forward 70 years, you look at Richard Prince's Girlfriends or whatever body of work of his you like or don't like, they're still authentically his work. And so that kind of piece of authenticity makes a lot of sense to me. And I think that AI can help you kind of push that faster, but at the end of the day, you still have to make the work. And that's going to kind of show in how it comes through. So I don't think AI is something to really fear in that regard. At the end of the day, AI doesn't really make anything original, if you understand what I mean, because it's taking examples and things it's finding on all over the world on the internet, putting it together and then present it to you in kind of a new way. But what it's presenting to you is not new. It's new to you, and it's a picture that might be pretty or whatever, but it's not new. The idea in it isn't new at all. You're the one who makes the new idea and presents it. So even if you're taking these as your sketchbook and then you go and you make the work and then you present it, it's a new thing. It's really kind of like just having an inspiration wall in your studio. I would almost think about it like that, or a sketchbook, as I've said earlier. I think that makes a lot of sense for AI. And lastly, we see things with AI, we talk about like the soul gap and technical flaws. And these are things that AI currently has that actually may be fixed down the road. The soul gap per se is, you really want to feel the human, you really want to see like a scumbly hand or this or that in the painting. And then there's some artists that don't have any of that in their work. And it's perfectly pristine and beautiful. And that's interesting too. But I think that there is something to be said about seeing that human hand go into it. And then we have the technical flaws that we see from AI. And those are technical flaws that we see right now in AI. They might get fixed later. Very often you see things with like extra fingers, people riding bikes, but the bikes aren't really going anywhere and the bikes are pointing the wrong direction, but there's a body on them. I've seen things like that in AI movies. I think you guys all have too. So there's these kind of technical flaws that happen in AI. But again, if you're making real work out of the AI, it's not going to bother you so much. There is something I saw that I kind of want to tell you guys about, and I think it's really interesting. Someone has made a ring that has a finger that kind of comes out of your hand. And they said it's really great for if you're going to commit crimes, because then if you're wearing this extra finger on one of your fingers, it's like you've got 6 fingers. So when they go to show the videotape of you doing whatever crime you have, you can literally say, well, clearly this has been augmented by AI because look at the hands, there's 6 fingers on the hand. I think that's really kind of funny, but I also think that's really kind of scary that people are already figuring out ways to get around AI. Anyhow, it's another quick one from me today. It's cold here in New York City. This is probably not going to get out for a week or so, but I wanted to try to take some time and get some things back out to you guys. I think AI has a lot of things coming down the pike that are just going to be really, really interesting to look at and see how it performs in the art world and around the art world. Like I say, graphic design, movies, that kind of thing, I'm terrified for you guys. But as far as fine arts go, the kind of work we do, I think we're going to be okay. But I think we have to be okay, but also use this for our own benefit and take it from there. Anyway, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks for your time. I'll talk to you real soon. Like and subscribe if you can. Thanks.